Okay, so it is just turned news here in Las Vegas. Just gonna do it one quick hand. This is a one straight hands. I had a winning session, so I don't feel too obligated to do a lot of review, but I just wanted to run through this spot really quick. See what it's supposed to do on multiple runouts. Yeah, basically pretty straightforward hand. Cutoff opens. This is zoom, so one hand on every person, kind of readless. Cutoff min raises. I don't really see min raises that often from regular players or good players or strong players. So we can kind of assume this is a weaker player. And that said, I attacked. I figured I would 3-bet this hand. This is probably going to get in there sometimes, not always, into my 3-bet range. But to make it $4, 4x seems pretty reasonable. Could make it like 350, 375, also seems fine. We're only 100 blinds deep, so not going to go any bigger than that, I don't think. He makes the call. Flop is 5-9-4 two-tone. We have a backdoor flush draw. And I think one of the previous hands I've ran, I bet a third on this flop. And it ended up being on this type of flop, and it ended up being a mistake. And not a mistake, PIO just doesn't recommend it. And we should really just be potting it here. And just making this like as close to a 2-street game as we can. Maybe even overbetting. Just because of how many perceived draws we can have, and they can have, that kind of thing. So that's what I did. I potted it. And interestingly enough, this guy raises. I think the weird thing is that when I pot it and he raises, like obviously leaving $27 behind, it's like almost never a bluff, right? Like they're not thinking on this level of like, well, what sizing should I make it, yada yada. Because obviously now I call is $50 in the pot and he has $27.74 behind, so like he's not bluffing because he'll have no fold equity on future streets, yada yada. Unless this is like a good reg that's gonna think I can read into this a lot. Maybe he's never bluffing, so maybe I should exploit fold, yada yada. But I don't think I can just call. I just jam. Obviously, I think I'm happier to just jam with a 9 than with like aces or kings. I think those might be better hero folds than actually having a 9, blocking some of his value range and really leaving him with only 5s and 4s. That kind of stuff. Especially without a diamond. Like, I mean, this is one of my better 9s. Like, you can still have Jack 9, 7, 9. You can have 8s or 7s. You can have 6, 7. You can have Ace X of diamonds, Ace X of spades. Like Ace 3, Ace Deuce of spades, that kind of thing. And so I guess when I say he's never bluffing, like I wouldn't take the sizing when I was bluffing because I don't think I have any perceived bluffs. But I mean, people spaz out. People do weird stuff with sizing, so not really thinking about future streets. Especially if they're weaker players, like we perceive them to be based off of the only thing we know about them, which is their pre-flop sizing, which is pretty non-standard. They call, which is expected, right? They're never folding when they make it this size. So they either have a very strong draw or a strong value hand. I think also important to note that he kind of tank raised here. And so I guess, I don't know. I don't think timing tells are really like that big of a deal. If he tank raises here, like I think maybe he could have weaker hands, right? Like he's just thinking like, well, shit, I got Jack 9 or I have 10-9 suited or I have 6-9 suited or something like that. I peeled pre, yada yada. I guess I'll just get it in. Or he's like Ace 5 of diamonds. He's like, I'll just get it in. That type of thing. And so, I mean, this is one of the best 9s I can have. I can have Ace 9 suited, but, excuse me, other than that, this is pretty good. Turn is pretty good for us. River is whatever. But he has top set, the one combo of 9s. So, I mean, I think this is just a cooler and standard play. But let's see what PIO thinks. And by let's see what PIO thinks, I mean, I already ran it, went through the tree, and PIO agrees with my line. And I think exploitably, so actually, let's go to the ranges first. This is probably my small blind 3-betting range versus cutoff. I mean, I think it seems pretty standard. These hands get in here sometimes Jack 8 suited, 10 8 suited. I would probably always 3-bet these versus a button open versus cutoff. I guess we should shave some of these hands off. not going to 3-bet deuces, 3s, 4s. I might not even 3-bet 5s, which might change how I'm supposed to play this hand because there's a 5 on the board and it means I can have a set sometimes. Or another set sometimes. But yeah, and I think his continuing range is pretty straightforward as well. A lot of suited broadways, suited aces, pocket pairs. Probably not 4-betting 10s that often, but jacks sometimes. You know, I would 4-bet ace queen off, but like I don't think many people are. Yada yada. And so away we go. And I think he actually has ace queen suited here sometimes, which gives him more flush draws. Yeah, I don't know. Just seems pretty straightforward. I bet 9, he raises, we obviously call. PIO agrees, the best 9s that are betting this size we call. I played around with this where, like, you know, on various runouts where, all right, what's the worst turn card for me? And as you would expect, diamonds are pretty bad. 10s are good for some reason. I'm not actually sure why that is. But yeah, aces are also bad because he has a lot of ace-x suited that's going to call a bet as opposed to raise. Diamonds are bad. Spades are not bad for king-9 suited. But in terms of my overall EV, there's not a lot of great turns here. Most of the broadways are okay because I'll be potting it with like king-jack of spades, king-jack of diamonds, that kind of stuff. And yeah, it just seems about right. So like the worst card for me is a 6, which makes sense. You know, 7, 8, 6, 7, 6, 5. All these hands he has, I don't. Gives him straights, flushes that I would just never have. Yeah, this just makes sense. There's just a lot of turns that can improve in position, as opposed to me. I don't know, pretty straightforward, not much to discuss here, but just thought I'd start off the new year right by doing a PIO video.